The legislation that everyone's been talking about, that's going to be voted on today, is going to destroy the office. I'm not going to mince words about that. It is going to destroy the office. I know it, you know it, and they know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another wild one. We're talking about Atlanta, and it seems like their government just pulled off some straight up cartoon villain moves. Their top corruption investigator quits, just quits. The person responsible to uncover corruption. And she says that she's been receiving a lot of pushback and threats for finding out all this corruption going down.
For the last several months, the City of Atlanta Office of the Inspector General and I have been subjected to threats, bullying, intimidation, and harassment at the hands of people who have been the subjects of our investigations. Pure and simple, it's retaliation. The attacks have been systematic, sustained, and savage.
The Inspector General's office in Atlanta was created in 2020, so it was very, very new. It's only been 5 years old. It was a direct response to the massive pay-for-play corruption scandal inside City Hall. The city was caught in serious misconduct, with businesses and officials were allegedly involved in shady backroom deals, and public trust in the local government was at an all-time low. So Atlanta needed a watchdog to keep the officials in check. Enter Shannon Manigault. She is Atlanta's Inspector General, and being an Inspector General has not been easy. It seems like it's been a history of her going back and forth with the city council.
I think that there's certainly been attempts to leash the office. Yes, I would say that. You can't have any Office of Inspector General that's denied access to city records and city property and city employees.
Manigault was met with swift pushback from city council members. Andrea Boone said Manigault's office has been overstepping in their investigations.
But looks like after a long time of dealing with this nonsense, she decides, I'm done with this, and basically rage quit her job. This isn't some kind of resignation where she writes a nice letter and disappears. No, she straight up called out Mayor Andre Dickens and the city council for trying to shut her up while she was investigating some shady deals. And right after she resigns, the council immediately votes to weaken the entire anti-corruption office. What a coincidence, right?
Our job is to identify fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption to serve this city. And that's exactly what we have done. We reported it to you, the public, because transparency and accountability matter. That's what it is to have an Office of Inspector General. Through our work, we've been able to protect city employees who've been victimized by abuses by city leaders. We make recommendations to address vulnerabilities. They ignore those and attack our character. We talk about industry standards and best practices, and they insist on guardrails for a train that has only ever stayed on the tracks. None of this is lost on the people who are actually paying attention. The public recognizes an assault on government oversight when it sees it. And the public has every right to ask the obvious question. Why? Why the unrelenting effort to hurt an office that's here to identify wrongdoing for the benefit of the city?
And if that wasn't shady enough, apparently her family was getting threats. So this is how far this has gone. So one question, why was she pushed out? Maybe because she was doing her job too well. Her office caught City Hall doing some real suspect stuff. A city commissioner gave her daughter a job, which is straight up nepotism. A major city contract for the 311 system went to a company tied to Mayor Dickens' transition team. And she also found evidence of bribery. You know, the pay-for-play nonsense that the entire group was created to stop. And instead of addressing these problems, the city response was to tell her to stop investigating, cut her access to city records, rewrite rules to make her job impossible, smear her name in public, and allegedly allow threats against her and her family. That's not how innocent people react. That's how people with something to hide react. The mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens, he didn't defend her, didn't back her up, didn't say, hey, you know what, corruption is bad, let's fix this. Nope. Instead, he called her work unprofessional.
Atlanta's Inspector General has dropped a new report accusing the city of favoritism in a bid for its 311 system.
Tonight, the mayor's office has slammed that report as wholly unprofessional, as some city officials want limits put on the Inspector General's office.
Wednesday's report from Atlanta's Office of the Inspector General claims the city broke policy and gave one company a leg up in a bidding process for a system in the 311 center.
You had a vendor who was citing
its connection to the mayor's transition team in order to help gain access to city officials.
Mayor Andre Dickens' spokesperson rejected the findings of the 29-page report, slamming it as, quote, erroneous, accusing the office of, quote, wholly unprofessional and inappropriate methods of conducting an investigation. Mayor Dickens made this surprise appearance at the Office of Inspector General's board meeting last week.
A lot of talk has been going on over the past several months, and I haven't spoken. I haven't been invited.
Which is hilarious because, again, her investigations were based on emails, records, and city documents, and she was literally hired to find corruption. Like I said before, the city created her office after a major federal corruption case. But of course, this mayor is going to do the right thing, and I'm being sarcastic. He formed a task force to investigate the inspector general. You know, instead of focusing on corrupt officials, he turned the spotlight on the person exposing the corruption.
Mayor Dickens created a task force to inspect the inspector general.
But I wonder if this is the real reason he decided to put a task force against the inspector general.
New at 4, hotel stays and room service were charged to Atlanta taxpayers for a senior ball. The event, hosted by Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, was determined to be in violation of city finance guidelines. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars.
But what's outlined here in this inspection report could be summed up in one word: excess. It is a night for the city of Atlanta to throw a party for senior citizens. The mayor is the official host. His office accepts private funds to pay for the gathering at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Cost exceeded $300,000. City resources, the taxpayers were left with more than $100,000 in charges not funded from those private sources. The city's Office of Inspector General, the mayor's office, ordered room night stays for the one evening event. Andre Dickens and 2 members of his family had rooms. Several staff also stayed over. Some billed room service, including alcohol, to the hotel bill. That taxpayer, Mr. Robinson, is familiar with the senior event.
His actions speak louder than words. If he wasn't involved in something shady, why is he so desperate to weaken the very office meant to expose corruption? That's like getting mad at the fire department for pointing out your house is on fire. So the city council is in this mess as well. They're not just bystanders. They helped kill the last real oversight Atlanta had. They passed new rules to make sure that the next AG can't actually do anything.
Her announcement came hours before the city council is poised to make changes to the city charter to put guardrails on the office of the inspector general.
Is going to destroy the office. I'm not going to mince words about that. It is going to destroy the office.
Why the charter changes? City officials say it's to protect city employees after leaders say Manigault overstepped and violated the privacy rights of city employees while conducting investigations.
The task force's recommendations have included limiting the inspector general's power and making her notify anyone the office is investigating as soon as the investigation begins.
Now the IG has to immediately tell people when they're getting investigated. You know, so they can shred evidence and lawyer up, so they know exactly what's going to happen before it happens. Also, they're limiting what they can investigate, because if there's one thing corrupt politicians hate, it's people digging into their shady business deals. They do not like that. So the million-dollar question, what are they hiding? If Dickens and the council are desperate to kill investigations, what else is lurking under the surface? Is there more rigged contracts? More officials hiring their family members? More bribery? You don't change the rules to block investigations unless you have something to lose. Now with Manigault out, those cases that she was working on may never see the light of day. If you live in Atlanta, you should be furious. Your tax money is being messed with while the people in charge just shut down the Watchdog. This isn't just happening in Atlanta, it's also happening in, no surprise here, Chicago.
New allegations that the law department could be trying to slow roll investigations that could be embarrassing the mayor's office.
Disturbing new allegations from the Watchdog office of the Chicago Inspector General. Did the mayor and the city's law department try to hold up investigations to keep negative information from becoming public?
At bottom, all of these concerns have to do with the larger question of whether we can allow City Hall, the mayor's lawyers, to choose what people and programs and information is susceptible to oversight and which isn't.
In this 17-page letter to the chairman of the Committee on Ethics and Government Oversight, IG Deborah Witzberg complains that under both Lori Lightfoot and Brandon Johnson, the city's law department has picked and chosen which of the OIG's administrative subpoenas they would comply with. cited attorney-client privilege to avoid handing over embarrassing documents, and insisted on having its lawyers sit in on sensitive interviews.
So what's going on here? I have no idea. We're definitely going to dig deep into this situation. Let me know your thoughts are in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.